Good. The Las Vegas Raiders have a new captain at the helm of the ship, and he is steering us in the right direction. And I'm going to explain to you why throughout this live. But the Raiders, new captain, it's obvious who the brains are in the building. It's obvious who the alpha is in the building. It is none other than John Spytek. Man, if you are pumped up for this season, for the future, for the next season and the season after that, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, hit that subscribe button. It's a new day here in Raider Nation, man. It's a new day. If y'all didn't see the press conference, go and check them out. There's a couple of different ones. I don't know why they all are not all linked together. Say that 3 times fast. What's good? What's good? Grim in the building. But man, I'm really liking the direction we are going, right? And with the new captain of the ship, John Spytek, steering it, I think the future is bright. He was asked some questions today, and we will get into those. We will get into his answers. But first off, how y'all feeling, man? How y'all feeling? Are you feeling like I'm feeling? Well, probably not like I'm feeling, but you know, are you feeling good? Are you happy about the direction we are going? I can't wait till the combine starts. We get the big dogs, the defensive edge guys and D-line up front first off the rip, right? Thursday? We got some more interviews coming tomorrow. Our head coach, Clint Kubiak, will probably be asked the exact same question Spytek was asked. So if you reporters are out there watching this, you know, peeping in, popping out, come on, man. Let's change it up. Let's mix it up. Let's not ask them who we're looking at in free agency because, like he said, Spytek said, but I ain't telling you that. I ain't telling you that. So let's come up with some good questions. Let's get involved. Let's find out what the future is. Ask him questions like, have you evaluated any of the guys on the roster, right? Have you evaluated any of the guys in the draft? Have you looked at our future quarterback, Fernando Mendoza? These are all questions that I believe need to be asked, right? Because he said at the beginning, he didn't have time. He was preparing for a Super Bowl. He didn't have time to sit and watch Mendoza go on a 16-game win streak, right? He didn't have time for that. So now that he is officially coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Now he can get to work. But let's ask him, how much work has he done? Where's he at in the process? These are all things that I would like to know, right? If y'all don't want to know, well then, I don't know. But Candy was good. Appreciate you in the building. Did you watch the press conference? Did anybody watch the press conference? Is there anybody even in here? Am I just talking to myself? Did you watch any other press conferences? What are y'all team? I watched a couple, you know, other teams just to see where they're at with their new head coaches. I think this is going to be an interesting football year, not just for us, but for a lot of teams, right? I think we have the potential and the opportunity to turn this thing around faster than we believed, which no expectations, right? No score predictions, no record predictions yet. But I feel like everything Spytek said was spot on. And let's get to the elephant in the room. When asked if Max Crosby has a future in Las Vegas, he said yes. Do you believe Max Crosby, you know, is going to be a Raider? Yeah. He was also asked, is there a trade possibility? Is Max Crosby untouchable? He's been asked this question twice now, and he got the same answer. This time, got a little bit more divulged information, right, about the answer. He said he's always open to listening. He learned a long time ago that listening is a good trait, right? So he's open to listening. To me, that opens the floodgates. Everybody and their mother is at the combine, and I'm sure he will go to lunch with 50,000 people in the next 4 days wondering, is Max Crosby untouchable, right? Because he never answered the question. Max Crosby has beat around the bush 50,000 times already this offseason. He won't come out and answer the questions. There's been reports, and I have a little birdie in my ear, say they're talking back and forth, trying to figure out what is the best for the Raiders. Is it Max Crosby? Is it Max Crosby moving on? What is the best for Max Crosby as well, not just the Raiders, right? A guy that's been here for 7 years. A guy that hasn't come out and said he doesn't want to be here anymore. And people are already saying Max ain't going nowhere. So shout out to Spytek for keeping the doors open, right? And opening the floodgates. Because by saying what he said, he's always open to listening. You just got to wow the man. So how much do you want Max Crosby? The phones are open, right? Pick up the phones. Throw out whatever crazy numbers you want, whatever crazy players you got. Because I believe Spytek, made it a free-for-all on whether or not Max Crosby is staying. Some people have different opinions. A lot of people think that, with the words he said, Max Crosby is guaranteed to be here for life. I disagree. So shout out to my guy Lawrence in the building. What was your thoughts on the press conference? Did you watch it yet? I know you don't really get involved with all that too much, but how did you feel? It's a lot chillier out here than I thought. We'll say that. These delays are long. But, so yeah, that was the questions around Max Crosby. He also said he talks to Max Crosby every day. They have a good relationship. But that doesn't mean diddly squat, right? It means about as much as that tattoo on his arm. It doesn't mean shit. If he's not happy and he wants to go play for a contender and we're going to be a couple years before we're that, it is what it is. But I've said this and I'm going to keep saying it. Max Crosby plays for the Raiders this year. After that, I think it's open season, right? My opinion. Also, he was asked about the rookie class. Was he happy with the way the rookies, got on the field this year? And he said, am I happy? It's not, it's in the past. It's not up to him. He wasn't going to say if he was happy or not, which leads me to believe, nah, bro, he wasn't happy with the playtime that Charles Grant got, that Caleb Rogers got. I'm sure he was not happy with the playtime that Darius Porter Jr. got. This man at the combine, I was watching his combine film just earlier yesterday, running that 4.3, the way he was catching balls, the way he moves, the fluid hips. This man has a future, and I wish he would have got more playtime this year, and I'm sure Spytek does too. But what Spytek did say, which really stood out to me, is he said, one person in particular, Caleb Rogers, has been in the building every single day since the season has ended, and he's working his tail off. So shout out to Caleb Rogers. I believe that right guard spot is his. Now, that leaves the question of where's JPJ in this? Is he at center? Is he at left guard? Are they happy with the offensive line they have? It sounded to me, what am I sipping on? Sparkling ice, orange mango. It's pretty much the only thing I drink. That and milk. It's pretty much it. It's not, no shots or nothing in it. So, yeah, man, that leads me to believe what we've talked about. Damn, that's a lot of birds. Don't shit on my head, please. Dodged the bullet there. But what we've talked about a couple times on this channel is, where does JPJ fit in? He was asked about JPJ. He said he loves JPJ. Everybody in the nation loves JPJ. Sipping on gin and juice, laid back. But yeah, man, y'all gonna get me distracted. What was I talking about? Now you goddamn song stuck in my head. It's fucked up. JPJ, yeah. JPJ. He said he loves JPJ. Everybody loves JPJ, right? It's the nation's favorite offensive lineman, becoming the nation's favorite player for a lot of people. I love JPJ. I think the kid's great. I just don't know with the injuries where he stands on this team, right? If Caleb Rogers solidifies that right guard spot, which the way he played last year when he was in the game, and a whole nother offseason with you know, a reputable offensive line coach, the sky is the limit for Caleb Rogers. I feel. Let me know how y'all feel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Y'all like Caleb Rogers? Do you think he should be starting next year? I don't say deserved it. He's got to earn it. You got to earn it in camp. But it really sounded to me like the Raiders have a plan. And I think this plan might not be Clint Kubiak's. I think it might be Robbie Leonard's. Hear me out. Hear me out. Robbie Leonard. We'll get to what Clint Kubiak, or what what GM Spytek had to say about that. Don't let me forget. But hear me out. A guy in Rob Leonard that knows the defense, that knows the guys in the building, that knows the D-line better, of course, than anything, became defensive line and run game coordinator last year. The Raiders' defense is no bueno, right? Fernando Mendoza, who may or may not start day one, we'll get into that too. Don't let me forget about that, because you know I will. But what I'm getting at is, when you have a rookie quarterback, or even, a third-year quarterback on a contract year in Aiden O'Connell, when you have these guys, you need a defense, right? You got to have a defense that can stop the other team, for one, that can create turnovers, that can get the ball back to your quarterback so he has as many opportunities as possible for your running back, right? Create opportunities. And you have to have a defense to do that. And we don't. Let's be honest. We don't. I mean, I love Jonah Lalu, right? One of my favorite players on this roster. Vegas boy. I spent many, many moons in Vegas. 24 to be exact, or something. Shit, a lot. Spent a lot of time in Vegas, so it's kind of like my hometown, right? Gotta root for the hometown guys. Love Jonah Lalu. But he's still not that guy that's consistent. He's not every game, right? Against certain tackles, against certain schemes, zone schemes, he kind of gets, kind of pushed out of the way a little bit, but he's got that motor. He doesn't quit. And I think there's a lot of guys on this defensive line, but we don't have 8 guys that are going to be on the 53-man roster that could come in and not have a drop-off, right? And I think we need to develop that. So defensive line, corner, safety, a linebacker with speed, right? Not somebody that's running a 4.7, that Aiden O'Connell is faster at linebacker, right? You can't have these guys be in your 3 linebacking core. Nothing against Landon Roberts, nothing against Devin White, who I believe should come back. You don't get 160 tackles by being shitty, right? You do give up over 500 yards by being shitty in coverage. So, I mean, right? So, with that being said, I really feel like this defensive class, linebacker, safety, defensive edge, defensive line, right? True nose, 3-tech, 4-tech, 2-techs. They're all over. They're all over. Guys that could play a couple of positions, guys that could play, would fit best at just a 3-tech, guys would fit best at, just a nose, which we're probably not going to run, 4 or 5 defensive linemen, but you never know what Robbie Leonard's going to run, right? Nobody knows. So we need all those guys. We need a defense. We need an offensive line, which I feel like for some reason, just have this feeling like there's not going to be a big splash in offensive line. Lindenbaum. Everybody wants Linderbaum, right? I feel he either goes to the Giants, like I've been saying all year long. I think in the last minute, right, we might be in contention, we might be in talks, but I think that's where he ends up. There's also talks that he's been offered a whole lot of money to stay in Baltimore. That could be, why they didn't, maybe they franchise tag him also. They could do that as well. But maybe that's why they didn't sign him to his 5th-year option. And now all of a sudden they've changed their mind. He could stay in Baltimore. Then you have the center, the the center for the Bills, who also has been in negotiations with Buffalo. There might not be a lot of free agent offensive linemen out there. So where do we end up? We might end up with a lot of the guys that we already have. I don't have the list in front of me exactly. Shit, I think it's on my other phone. But the Raiders have signed Antonio Maffei, Dalton Wagner, McClendon, whatever his name is, and I can't think of the other two, but 5 offensive linemen out of the 15 or 16 that we have to a future contract. That tells me that they seen something in these guys this year that they might be willing to try to work with, and that kind of scares me. That kind of scares me an awful lot. I don't know how y'all feeling about it, but looking at our offensive line, looking at the talent, yes, we had a bad coach. Yes, there's, some talent there. There's some big guys that, a little bit of footwork, a little bit of coaching, but in a rebuild, right? In a rebuild, maybe they don't go crazy on the offensive line. And getting to why they won't go crazy on the offensive line leads me to my next subject. They were asked John Spytek about Fernando Mendoza starting year 1. And he said, not the Raiders specifically, but he said anybody that has a quarterback, drafted in the first round or drafted year 1 should not throw him into the fire. Basically, they should let him sit for a year and develop. We've talked about this on this channel a million times. We know how Brady feels about it. I told y'all how Spytek felt about it. People argued with me till they were blue in the face. This dude's starting from day 1. I don't feel that. I don't feel that whatsoever. Now, maybe they go with the Aiden O'Connell, and by week 4 or 5, whenever our bye week is, if it's early, like it was this year, week 7 or 8, then maybe you run that way. With that in mind, money, right? Y'all go, Raider Paul in the building. What's good? Raiders. What'd you think of the press conference, my brother? What'd you think? Are you on board with Spytek? Because I'm here to say 100%. I am on the Spytek train. I've been on it since day 1. I'm rocking with Spytek. I think he is our future, man. I love his mindset. I love the way he talks to the media, right? He's not sugarcoating shit. He said last year, or he said at the beginning of this year, that he made some mistakes. He said you should build, with guys that are in the building, drafted Raiders, you keep those guys in the building. And he admitted he made a mistake by letting a lot of them go. But I don't think that was him letting them go. I think that was him not putting his foot down because Pete Carroll wanted those guys gone so he could bring in his guys, right? We all know how that goes. How long's your mom been on meth? Damn, that's messed up, bro. I don't know. Ask her. You're iffy about Max? I think we're all iffy about Max, bro. I think we all are. But again, under contract, new coach, right? They talked him into staying last year when he wanted out. I think they do the same. I think with Clint Kubiak, they're not going to make him any promises like 10 wins or anything. But, if he wants to be a Raider, he'll be a Raider. If he doesn't, he won't. Simple as that. Clown, bro. Clowns. Rainbows. Sweet. You like rainbows? I don't know, bro. I don't know. But what leads me to the next thing is, like he said, more than likely, they're not looking to start Mendoza year 1. They know every quarterback has, a learning curve when you get to the NFL. It's guys are faster, the speed is faster, the defenses are, they're disguised different. It's harder to tell if they're in cover 3 or cover 4 or cover 6 nowadays. You don't know what the hell they're in, right? They can be, looking like cover one, and then everybody's dropping back and blitzing and crossing, and you don't know what the hell, man. These defenses are wild as hell. Everybody's getting, crazy and innovative, which I believe. Kubiak starting Mendoza? I don't think so. I don't think so. When you got Tom Brady and your general manager saying they don't believe he's going to start or should start year one, I don't see a first-year head coach going against your GM and your minority owner. I just don't see that. Now, if he does start day one, shit, I'm for it, right? I believe he should. I feel like if you're drafted first overall in the NFL, you should be able to start, right? That should be your guy. If you're picking a guy that high in the draft, there's so many teams that have never even had the first overall pick in the NFL draft. So if you're drafting that high, I'm with you. I'm with you, Raider Paul. I believe he should start. Now, will he? That's the argument. I don't know. Wait till preseason comes. All the fans will be screaming for it. I think most of them are screaming for it now, right? I think I know there's been a lot of talk on a lot of channels. There's been a lot of talk on X. It's been a lot of questions. Does he start day one? Heisman, number one pick, always starts. And with saying that, let's look at history. How many of those Heisman number one picks that started day one made it to a playoff game? In the last 25 years, only three Heisman winners. There's a reason you don't start guys right away. There's a reason you let guys sit, whether they won the Heisman, whether they were the best player in college football history, right? High school history, whether they're a 5-star recruit their whole entire career. You still, you should. Unless it's a system that they kind of ran in college. Some teams do that, right? They go get the offensive coordinator, or they look at the playbook that they ran in college, and they're like, yo, let's just run this system and change it up a little bit for the NFL. So this man, everything's kind of the same except for the verbiage, right? There's a possibility they do that. I wouldn't let AOC start for the practice squad. Well, he's already started for this roster. He's already started for the practice squad. Grandpa Harold was good. We won 2 Super Bowls with one Jim Plunkett. Yeah, and that Jim Plunkett wasn't drafted a Raider. He was drafted a Patriot, I do believe. And he also played for 3 other teams before he got here to the Raiders on a team that was already had one of the best defenses in football, had Marcus Allen, had receivers, had an offensive line. I mean, we're acting like Jim Plunkett was just drafted a Raider and started day one. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. AOC sucks. By his record on a shitty team, yes. But if you look at throughout history, find me a guy with 20 games with a better career start. Even drafted in the first round. You can't. There isn't one. He didn't fit their system. Mendoza fits Kubiak's system. We don't know. Mendoza's take 97% of his snaps in the shotgun. We see how hard it is for teams to adapt their quarterback to taking snaps under center. Clint Kubiak and the Seattle Seahawks had over 90% of their snaps under center. One in the shotgun, 97%. The other one, 90-something percent under center. Not the same system. Not the same system at all. They run an awful lot. That's, part of the system, but it's not even close to the same system. And we'll see what the fit is, man. We'll see. But the systems are, like I said, it's totally different. Kubiak with a rookie quarterback. The New Orleans Saints fell apart with Spencer Rattler. Now, Spencer Rattler is a pretty decent quarterback. Coming out of college, he had great accuracy. He can move the pocket. He can roll out, throw on the run. You know, he could throw from hash to hash across his body. Like, the good kid's got a decent arm. When Derek Carr went down, the Saints went down. Kubiak was the offensive coordinator. So let's not act like Kubiak's going to come in with a rookie quarterback who's never been under center, except for, 7% of his snaps in college football, and he's just going to come in and pick that shit up right away. I don't see that. I don't see that. Put my glasses on because it's getting dark and I cannot see no more. Boom. I just joined this mid-grid positive environment. Nice. I swear the trolls are thick tonight. That's what she said. Literally, that's what she said. And if you look at another statistic, since we're just going off numbers, right? There's only been 5 quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall to a brand new first-time head coach in history. Out of those 5, Andrew Luck is the only one that worked out. You could say Cam Newton, but he was one of the longest ones that were together. They did go to a Super Bowl. The other 3, those coaches were fired within the first 2 years. 2 of those coaches were fired in their first year. Caleb Williams and Eberflus didn't even make it the entire season. Jackson Dart and Brian Dable, they moved up to get Jackson Dart. He played his ass off, and the coach was still fired halfway through the season. I'm just saying, history doesn't lie, man. History doesn't lie. So if we're acting like just because Mendoza is, however you want to look at it, 6'5" and can move a little bit, is going to be like that guy that's just going to come and change the future of the NFL, we're lying to ourselves. We are. However, I'm on board with the Mendoza thing. I think he's going to work. I think he will fit Kubiak's system, but I don't think it's going to be day one. I think it's going to take some time. And preseason is not enough time because you're looking, off-season is not enough time. You're looking at other quarterbacks. You're looking at other guys, which brings me to my next subject. When asked about Geno Smith, Spytek said he had not talked to Geno Smith since the season ended, but he's seen videos of him working out. He looks in great shape. He looks like, his mental's good. He's all there with that. And he said they'll talk later. Basically, they'll talk later. So, he also said that Geno had a lot of pressure put on his shoulders. Basically, he made a lot of excuses for Geno Smith. From what I took it is, I think, feelings there for Geno Smith. I really do. And we've also heard Kubiak talk about the way he likes Geno Smith, and he went to Seattle to work with Geno Smith. This could all be a very big problem. If you're not a Geno Smith fan, this could be bad, bro. This could be bad. Having Geno, he also mentioned the fact that he's under contract and they owe him a lot of money. All signs are starting to point to Geno Smith starting for the Las Vegas Raiders next season. I don't know how you're going to sell that to the fan base. I don't know how you're going to change a lot of people's mind. But I would not be surprised if some way, somehow, they decide to keep this dude in the building. I don't know. He is a hustler, right? We've seen his interviews. We've heard the way he talks. And maybe he could come in, kiss ass, and be like, yo, I don't want to be done. Because maybe his agent right now at the combine is talking to other teams, and these teams are like, no. We've seen the dude get his jaw broke in a locker room before. We've seen the way he flipped off fans in Vegas, right? We've seen how he played, his body language on the field, pointing fingers at people, yelling at people, right? Geno Smith would be an absolute huge mistake to keep this man in the building. I believe. I believe. Rick Diaz in the building. What's up, Rebel? I took the day off today from my job. I need it. Raiders. Should never call in, man, unless you're really, really sick. Integrity, bro. Integrity. Maybe those people needed you. Maybe they couldn't get somebody to fill your spot. You know, there's always so many things. Why is my hat crooked as hell? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But yeah, work ethic. Work ethic. What else we got? What else we got? Kubiak. We got into that. Was asked about his offensive system. Yeah, no, no. I think I'm gonna go inside. Whoa. Green screen in the building. What? But now I can't see the chat. Oh shit. Shout out for the $2 smack-a-rizzle. Appreciate you, my nizzle. For shizzle whizzle. Let's go combine tomorrow, right? No, Kubiak coach will be doing a little presser, little interview, just like Spytek did today as well. And then Thursday, you know, they have workouts and stuff like that. I think they might show a little bit on ESPN and NFL Network. Check that out. But other than that, I think Thursday everything starts. Yes, Thursday. Put your glasses on. Yes, sir. You got no sunset yet. Wait. I took my green screen off. Oh, shit. Let's go with none. Got sunset over there. That way, that way. All right, so what else? What else was I gonna say? Yeah, that's about it, man. That's about it. I will probably be on later on about 9 o'clock to do the offense. Shit, what were we doing? Linebackers. Pull up on the computer, not in the wind. Windy ass wind. Can y'all hear the wind? I didn't even think about that. Damn. But yeah, man. Yeah, I like the direction we're going. I like everything Spytek has to say. I really feel like this man is the man for the job. I think he's the guy to steer the ship in the right direction, as the thumbnail says, right? Keep this ship afloat for a while. When asked about his rookies, it's nice out there. What a view. It's all right. It's windy as hell, though, and cold. Cold. I was hoping some deer would come run across the street, but nope. No deer. Shout out to the $5 holla in the building. Troy RS, what's good, what's good? The Raiders are in trouble. Why are we in trouble? We're always in trouble. The players are always in trouble. People always in trouble. We always in trouble. Has anybody got to listen to Max Crosby's album yet? Just asking for a friend. Has anybody heard it? Has anybody heard it? Oh. You should go check it out. What else? What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? Forgot what else we got. I think that was about it, man. I think that was about it. The press conference, basically, yeah. Spytek is the shit. Y'all should get on board. Get in where you fit in. Things are going in the right direction. Things are changing around. And I wouldn't be surprised if they surprise everybody at the draft and, you know, maybe not take a guy first overall. Maybe they trade back. Maybe they trade a player. Maybe they trade a couple players. I don't know. I don't know. Well, something smells fishy, right? Can y'all see all that? So spotted view, spotted view. What else? What else? Oh, the Brady effect, man. I think, like I said before, I feel like this Brady effect is call me when you need me, right? If you have any questions, if you want me to answer anything. Other than that, I think Tom Brady's busy, bro. I think he's got a million things to do. Like Max Crosby. What do y'all think about Max Crosby buying ownership in a San Francisco 49er owned soccer team? I feel like this man is preparing for the future, right? As hard as he goes 100% every single game, I feel like he is 100% preparing for the future. Not like he's not already set up for, the next 10 generations. He's got his hands in a lot of things, right? I can't remember really. I really can't remember a player that's had his hand in so many things while playing football, right? And talking about wanting to be the greatest of all time. Like, you're putting a lot of weight on your own shoulders. Just how I feel. But yeah, man. So yeah, what else they talk about? The rookies. He's confident in the guys that he's got in the building. I feel good, man. I feel good about this draft. I like the fact that he said they're drafting character, right? They care about the person that they're drafting. They're not drafting athletic traits. They're not, yes, that's part of it, but their analytics room, they're worried about the person, the character, right? Are these guys going to get in trouble in Vegas? Are they going to be in the club when, after the games are over? Are they going to be out doing stupid shit they shouldn't be in? Because Vegas is the city of sin, right? And that's one thing that the Raiders have to think about. I think a lot more than a lot of other teams, right? There are teams that have to worry about that. But when it comes to Vegas, man, that's the party capital of the world. Like, everybody goes to Vegas to party. So, there's clubs everywhere. There's strip clubs. There's nightclubs. It's 24/7. Nothing closes down. So that's a big aspect of drafting guys. They have to have character, right? And I think the number one pick, Mendoza, fits that bill. Spytek was asked also, what does he look for in traits in a quarterback? He said, guys that are mentally strong, guys that are tough, guys that are all about the team, guys that are all about football. He's looking for a lot of guys. 7528 Raiders, what's good, man? Appreciate you in the building. He said he was looking for guys that love ball. And I think that's a big part of it, right? You're not going to find guys like Max Crosby, but there are guys out there. There are guys that want to be great, that are all about the team, all about focusing on the team and making the guys around them better. And if we can bring more guys like that in the building, the future is even brighter. But I think we got guys like that. I think the integrity of guys like Caleb Rogers, who's been in the building since day one after the season ended. I think when Max wasn't out there and they had to depend on him, he stepped up, in my opinion. He stepped up. So we got guys in the building that we should trade for Andrew Luck. Good luck. She don't know anything. What's she know? What's Candy know? What you want me to ask her? But yeah, man, I think I feel like when you have a head coach like that, can y'all see that? Yeah, when you have a head coach and a general manager that all have the same goal, right? I feel like they all have the same character in mind. When you look at Clint Kubiak, right? He's a man of faith. He's a man of God. He's gonna he's gonna be all about the character in these guys, right? He's not gonna be drafting a bunch of um, thugs out getting in trouble or being stupid or dumb shit. He wants guys that are not hanging with their friends on the weekends, right? You want guys that are in the building. You want guys that are studying film. You want guys that are learning the system. And I feel like we have a bunch of head coaches, offensive line head coach, defensive coordinator. I feel like there's a bunch of guys in the building that are all kind of in the same age group. And then you have the older tier guys that can help those guys along. But I feel like the nucleus of the guys in the building, I feel is we haven't had that since, man, I want to say since Del Rio. I really do. I mean, I know we've had some great coaching staffs, we've had some good guys on the building, but I don't think all of them had the same outlook of what a Raider should be. Let's say that the same outlook of what a Raider should be. I think John Gruden had that outlook. I think Mike Mayock kind of did, but when you look at their draft, they went towards like more of the thuggish badass types, right? And I don't think that worked very well. We've seen how the draft picks went when we traded for Khalil Mack, right? It didn't turn out very good for the Raiders at all. We got guys that weren't in the building for more than 3 years, both drafted in the first round. Or wait, one was drafted in the second round. Anyways, what I'm saying is, I feel like with the coaches that we have in the building, with the age, nucleus, they're all pretty much 39, 41, 42, 40, right? They're all in that same age group. They've all been position coaches or assistant coaches at different levels, right? They've been, offense and defense. A lot of guys that we brought in have not only coached just offense or only coached just defense. They coached both sides of the ball. And I believe that's huge because you can get in the meetings and you can talk about, even an offensive coordinator could be like, hey, look, maybe try this on defense. To tease, what's good, appreciate you. Rebel game, what's good. 5 minds are better than one, and if everybody's on the right track and going in the same direction, then nobody feels like anybody's stepping on toes if they're suggesting, hey, maybe we do this or maybe we run this. Kubiak has already made a point to say, he's not the only one calling plays. Everybody will be in the building at the same time. Should we run this? Should we run that? I don't think we should run this. And I feel like we have a lot of alpha males in the building. Listening to these guys from interviews in the past and going through and, trying to find everything I can on these guys, which we'll break them all down very, very soon individually. But, I probably should have already done that when they were hired. But we'll break them down more because, I got to learn everything I can about these guys. So what I've learned is all of them seem to, none of them are yes men, right? None of those dudes I feel like are guys that are just going to be like, hey, you need to do this. And they're going to be like, okay. I feel like they're guys that if somebody says, hey, you need to do this, they're going to be like, wait a minute, why should I do that? Explain to me why I should, why your way's better than mine. And I feel like when you got minds that are communicating and they're all, like I said, on the right track and all on the same page, it just makes a difference in the building. It makes a difference in the play on the field, right? If you get everybody to buy in, and if you could tell as a player. I mean, I didn't play no D1 or nothing, but I played a lot of football since I was younger, all the way up till I got hurt my junior year. So I played a lot of football, and you could tell when coaches and coaching staff are butting heads, right? One wants to do this, one wants to run the ball more, the other one wants to pass more, right? One wants to zone block, one wants to inside zone block, one wants to push and pull or pin and pull, right? One wants to run, more power. You could tell when it's not, it's not on the same system and everybody's not on the same page. And I feel like it just feels different, right? Last year, We didn't know who was in charge. We had no idea if it was Pete Carroll running things on defense, if it was Patrick Graham. You know, it was obvious that Pete Carroll had his hand in everything, and was, you know, Patrick Graham didn't really have a lot of say, and he don't seem like a guy to me that's going to go against the grain and stand up against the head coach and say, no, I don't think we should do that. That's why those guys are gone. I feel like Robbie Leonard is the guy that probably was in those meetings saying, no, I think those are gone, and Robbie Leonard's still there. And I feel like I said, with that nucleus in the building, with great minds, with guys that have all coached different positions, coached a lot of good players in their career, right? A lot of these coaches have been around great athletes and have helped great athletes be great athletes. So they're all teachers, right? They're all developers of men and character. And seems like everybody in the building, you know, has faith one way or another, is a man of God. And I think if everybody in the building believes, it helps everybody else believe. Clint Kubiak was the dude that went and bought his whole entire team, staff, everybody in the building's Bibles. You know, I don't think you have to do that. I think there's a lot of guys already in the building, Aiden O'Connell, who already has probably a couple Bibles, carries it everywhere he goes, right? It's a crazy ass sunset. But just my opinion. Just until me and what? And Godzilla watched the San Francisco 49ers beat the Las Vegas Raiders again. Y'all ain't gonna win, bro. Y'all ain't gonna win. You know why you're not gonna win? Because everybody we have in our building has played in that Shanahan system. Come on, man. All of our coaches, all of them are from that Shanahan tree. They all run that same style, same offense, same defense. Come on, man. Like, you don't think Clint Kubiak's going to be up for the task against the San Francisco 49ers? I believe 100% they will be all in. And if they play in Mexico, that's going to be crazy, bro. If that game ends up in Mexico with Mendoza, that'll be wild, wild shit. It's so pretty to do this delusional. Nope, not all. We Raiders would be ready to play and give it 100%. Right? Shout out Nick Diaz in the building. Always down for the Raiders. But yeah, so that, man, like I said, a lot of guys in a lot of different positions from where they were last year. Some guys have moved from offense to defense. Our run game coordinator seems like, just seems like he's got that all about football mentality, which I think all these guys have, and I think all the players that they draft and bring in free agency will have. Raiders got a lot of money, man. They got a lot of money, but they also have a lot of holes. And 23 free agents. That's a lot. Unless San Francisco 49ers get the first round pick. Why would they want the first round pick? They're paying $56 million to a quarterback and Brock Purdy, who can't stay healthy and stay on the field. I mean, you might as well just sign Deshaun Watson. I mean, no knock on Deshaun, but I mean, come on. Let's be real. This man can't stay on the field. He can't stay out of massage parlors. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a joke, man. Just a joke. But real talk, though. So why would the 49ers want the first overall pick? If they were smart, they would try to move up somewhere in the top 10 or maybe top 15 and get one of those defensive ends like Keldrick Falk. I think would be nasty on the 49ers. Zion Young would be nasty on the 49ers. R. Mason Thomas, TJ Parker. They could get one of those. They're going to have to move up. But they could get one of those guys. The 49ers could be in business. But they are one of those teams that trade away 3 first-round picks to move up and get a guy like Trey Lance. So maybe the 49ers, hey, if they want that number 1 pick, come get it. We'll take 3 first rounds. I mean, damn. Y'all could have it. 3 first rounds, and I don't care where your picks are. You could have that first round pick. It's yours. Right? Anybody disagree? Disagree? Agree? Like it? Love it? Like it or love it? Like it or love it? All right, man. So, no other questions. Nobody's talking. Nobody's saying shit. Nobody popped in. Not a lot going on. That was it. That's all I had to talk about. How great our GM is. How great our GM is going to be. All I care about is what the Raiders pick in the draft. So who do you think they're going to get? Ricky Diaz? Who are you looking at in the draft? Who is your guy? Who is your guy? Give me one. Give me one guy. Not in the first round, because we don't have a first round pick if we take Mendoza, right? So we got to go all the way. Is there a guy, anybody, the 10 people are in here, is there anybody in this draft that you think the Raiders move up to the first round to get after they pick Mendoza? Anybody? Anybody? I believe yes. I believe yes. If there's a run on tackles and they don't think one is going to fall to 36, I do believe there is a chance that they go after a right tackle like a Monroe Freeling, like a Max Ian Archer, right? I believe there is a possibility. If not, second overall pick, I'm looking at defense. I'm looking at edge. I'm looking at tackle. Maybe a corner. Julian Neal, shock the world. Take him in a second. He's not going to be there long. Somebody's going to catch on. You got to take that, man. Are you coming back on later tonight to do a stream? No guarantees. It is possible. If I do, it'll be probably about 9:30. But again, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what my schedule is. You know, always got shit popping up, shit going on. So we will try to be back. We will try to be back live on the computer and do a little breakdown of the linebackers, because I think there's a lot of linebackers. Hell, we might even double up. So like, subscribe, follow if you're not already. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you like this kind of content in the dark with the sunset and you can't see me no more, you know, hit the subscribe button. If not, hit the thumbs down and let me know in the comments why you hit the thumbs down. Don't just hit dislike and not tell me. Mendoza is the only one that I hope for, but besides that, we need a corner. We need a corner. We need speed at the linebacker, which is why we are talking linebackers. I will give you my top 10 and a whole bunch of honorable mentions that I believe the Raiders could pick later rounds that could still contribute. But if you look at our picks, you know, 6th overall, we took Tommy Eichenberg. 7th overall. 7th round, we took Cody Lindenberg. 4th round, we took Tommy Eichenberg. Those dudes have not got a lot of grass time. We don't know what we have in those guys. So do we take a chance on a linebacker in the 4th round where we have 3 4th round picks? I believe that sounds like the way to go. Also, if you look at the safeties, man, I think there's like, I'm struggling between 15 to 11 safeties that could go in the top, you know, top 100, maybe 110. I think right after the 100 might be a run on safeties. You know, there's a lot of guys that could show out at the combine. So show up. We will be live for the combine all 3 days, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will be live. Can't show it, unfortunately, but we will be talking about it. Pigs, bunch of safeties to target, but only a few elite ones. That's, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing. You have Caleb Downs, who is obviously the elite one. You have Thieneman, I don't know how to say that dude's name, but watch when he runs his 40 time, and watch when he does, you know, the long jump, the high jump, all that stuff. This man's going to impress some people. I think he's athletic as hell, and he could be, you know, the next one of them ones. We'll see. After that, there's still, I don't know about elite, but there's some dudes that can become, you know, second team all-pro, maybe some first team all-pros. I really like Julian Neal. Some people have him in the top 10. Some people don't. I have him 4. I think he's 4. I think he's the best, one of the best corners out there. So, and safety wise, man, there's I guess the kid from Toledo also. There might be 4. I think Bud Clark could also be one of those guys to surprise a bunch of people, right? He's got length, he's got speed, he's got the size. So don't sleep on Bud Clark. There could be a couple. But I definitely know there's guys that'll help the Raiders. There's guys that can cover. There's guys that can hit. There's potential out there. Safeties, linebackers, defensive edge, defensive tackle, very, very high. Wide receiver, I think those are the tops. You're going to see a lot of wide receivers, a lot of defensive edge and tackles and linebackers and safeties probably go in the first 2 days, right? I think those are, offensive linemen, they always go, right? Somebody's always going to take a chance on those. So, like I said, man, yeah, show up, show out to the combine. One more look at the sunset. Anybody else out of San Francisco gets for Roberto? Is that the only English you know, my guy? Are you a bot? Are you on repeat? Like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, bro? Don't delete the message. He didn't say nothing bad. Think it's a bot? That's weird. Why does a bot come in and just say the same thing? Why is there bots on my channel? That's nuts. YouTube, send real people that want to talk football. I want to talk football. Anybody want to talk football? But yeah, man, so lots of prospects. We'll be breaking them down day by day by day by day. I might have to double up. What did we do? We did wide receivers. We did tackles. I got guards coming very, very soon. Trying to get them before they get to the combine. So might have to go defensive edge. Damn, and D-line in one show, possibly. I don't know. Possibly. That might be the direction we are heading in, right? Any other questions? Any other comments? No players? Nobody has any comments? Pop in, pop out, say something, speak. Who do you want your team to draft? Who is your favorite team? Who is your favorite team and your number one pick? Do you want your team to move up? Do you want them to trade back? Do you want them to stick and pick? What do you want? I look forward to your lives later. Rebel, see you tonight. You jumping on later? Yeah, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump on and talk linebackers. So, yeah, I gotta get off here. I gotta finish up breaking everybody down. Try to make it more interesting. Get some picks on there. But yeah, pull up, talk linebackers. See where I got in my top 10. Who you got in your top 10? Well, pull up and let me know. Appreciate everybody. As always, much love. Raiders, protect yourself, protect your mind. Always protect your family and your loved ones. And I always got you. Peace. Much love.